change. Oh, mate. Testing. Oh, there we go. 1, 2. There we go. We are live. Sweet. Okay. Sorry, I just need to sort out this. Close that down. Alrighty. So today is not going to be 101 with Michael and Christian, PS 101 with Michael and Christian, just due to Christian's actually at a mate's place. So today we're just going to be, I'm just going to be working on a project that I've been wanting to do for a little while. Basically what it is it's just, I'm just refactoring some code with Azure Function, an Azure application insight. So what it does is it logs to application insights. So basically, yeah, I just want to refactor some code there, and we're going to do some testing and write some unit tests for it. So it's fairly mundane today, but at the end of the day, though, I need to do it. So my goal is to refactor this code so that it can be a little bit easily used. So rather than, one of my ideas is, if I focus on the screen, so I've got my function here. Basically, I've got a whole bunch of different types of input. A lot of it needs to be refactored. Oh, sorry, my brother just sent me a text, and it just kind of made me laugh. Hang on, let me just quickly check what this is. So basically, I just need to refactor that, make it a little bit more intuitive, easy to use. So I think at the moment it's still a little bit clunky. I'm not too happy with it. But at the same time, I'm kind of I'm looking forward to getting this done so that basically it's a little bit easier. So my goal is to be able to, one of the things I want to be able to do is just pass an object into it. So I raise my custom event within application insights. From that, it will then go ahead and oh yeah, I've read this one. So it'll update that and go ahead and so it'll take that object, and then it'll record. It'll basically rip out all the properties that it can actually log. So it'll exclude things like any custom events and things like that, and it'll log the essentials. So what it means is that you can take any old object and then pass it through there. One of the things I really want to try and do is see if it's smart enough to take a collection. So to be able to pass a collection. So let's say you've got a collection of data and you just want to log the entire lot as a debug event. What it will do is it'll actually serialize that and then basically pass that in. So it's just going to be a matter of having a bit of a play around with that and seeing how we go. So first things first, so obviously I've got my unit tests that I've written for this. So I've parameterized my my standard input and my expanded input. So standard input for this is just update AI trace log. I'm not particularly I'm not sure about this, but we'll see. I've just abbreviated with AI for application insights for the time being. And then basically just details tests, and then what it does, you can pass different types. So the information, critical warning, so all the multiple streams. I am probably going to rewrite this because I'm not too keen on the critical anymore. Critical's obviously from the SMS trace format, so that's the one we had a update trace log. And my idea is not to use that, maybe change that back to error. Because the stream is, that's how the streams, so there might be something that I need to do there to fix that. That's fine. It just means that I'll need to update my code, so my code will stop working if any sort of errors on that. Or I could just put a parameter alias in that, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. It also has the ability to take in one of the things, so I can just run my logs. It'll run the standard one, then it runs an expanded one. So an expanded one is you can actually pass a hash table of custom key value pairs, and they'll basically, it'll automatically append that to the expanded dimensions. So basically you have more, you can actually, it gives you a bit more flexibility. It's good. That's how I'm currently working with logging objects. Excuse me. But it's not great. And what I mean is that it kind of needs to yeah, it kind of needs to be a bit better with that. So I'm just quickly updating Restream chat so I can have it on top of everything, because at the moment it's not. Always on top, yes. That's fine. Perfect. Alrighty, so what we're going to need to do now is my idea is here, so obviously I can run my tests, they're all passing. So I actually don't have the module installed. So what it's going to do is just, it loads a stub. So it just basically loads the function and then we're just mocking that. So we're not actually logging it. I'm using a custom module which was written by a gentleman at the script gallery. I'll just have to copy this in a custom browser. So it was in here, so you can see lost in custom events. So this is written by Rohit. So basically this is what I'm using. So basically all you need to pass in is instrumentation key, and it will do the rest. I don't know. I'm on the fence at the moment, because at the end of the day though, application insights is it's good, but the thing is I don't want to have a custom application insight for each script instance. So this is really just be for any sort of logging within PowerShell. So I was kind of wanting to actually encapsulate, so the event name would be the actual script or the runbook, Azure runbook or whatever, and then from that. So this is not obviously designed to be used with functions. Functions has its own logging. This is more used for any sort of cloud logging or Azure automation runbooks. So the whole idea is you just basically import it, create your generic dictionary, which is basically just option, and then you just put that dictionary item in there. So what I've done is I've just done that exact same process, and I've just updated a bit of this existing code. So it does the same process where it basically creates it, just automatically crafts a dictionary object within it, and then it's putting items within it. So we can put the date, things like that. It's not entirely perfect, so there's things that I wish I do want to make better, but that's why we're refactoring it. So, sorry, I'm yawning. All right. So first thing we need to do to refactor is I'm wanting to restructure the way that this code. So the intention of initially was you could pass the details, you could pass a whole bunch of different things. I still like the details. That's one thing I do like. I like the ability to be able to pass a details. It was a string array. I'm going to remove that because I just don't think it's really relevant. So I'm going to biff that. So we're just going to make it, you can just pass your actual your message. We've got our hash table. So these are custom items or error details. So I think these can go on their own parameter sets. They realistically are just not really that valid. I think if you're going to want to expand on items, you're generally just going to want to pass an object through for debug. So my idea maybe is to create a new parameter sets. So what I'm going to do is create a new parameter sets here. So we're going to get standard, and then we're going to have error, then we're going to have expanded, like so. I'm just going to put that one above so that it's a little bit more saying. I'm just going to get rid of all that. We don't need that. We can just say value from pipeline. It'll automatically say true. From that, we can then go. So I wouldn't. This is not standard. I'm going to say that's error. And then we can say this is. So it's taking error details. Oh, sorry, no, that's expanded. So what we got here is standard expanded. So it's just taking a custom object. It should be taking a custom error object, but it's just I think I need to test that type. I think it's just accepting a generic object, and it's assuming that it's an error. So I think I'm going to need to clean that up a bit. So I'm just going to need to put a to-do here. So I'm just going to drop that in there like that. So I want to clean that type up. So then we've got the type. Yep, we're going to change that. It's going to error. So we're going to also need to update all our tests. Currently our test will stop working right now. Default parameter is information, so it'll always write information. Now, one of the really cool things about this is it's not going to actually do write host. It does write information, write warning, so it'll write the subsequent type that you want to write. So if you don't actually have that preference set, it actually just won't print, which is really easy. But it's actually up to the user to set that preference. So in the test, we've got obviously those preferences set, so I can check to make sure that's been run, but at the end of the day, we don't need to worry about that. Instrumentation key. I've actually set this generic variable, so you can actually have a generic variable in your script, so you don't actually have to call this each time, because I do think that gets a little bit frustrating. So you can just have a generic variable set up in your parameter block at the top of your script, which kind of does that for you. So I don't like Azure Automation Runbook name. I'm just going to call this script name. I'm just going to call it resource name actually. And this short and the variable can be set to be script name. So what we need to do is I need to do a quick find replace. Find all that and replace resource name that with resource name. I need to update script name here. Instrumentation key, that's going to stay the same. And then I've got this switch statement in here, which is all it's really doing is it's doing a sorry, I'm just kind of humming and hurrying. So what it does is it just does a write output. So initially this doesn't actually write an output. But for me to be able to test on the parameter set that's running the code, I need to actually have a write output. So I've got in here just a write output. So if it's pesta should return params, it just does a straight write output. Now we've removed that, we can actually get rid of the for each, so that can go. I'm just going to go all the way down here. We can get rid of all that junk. Just simplifying this commandlet. So we've got a big process. So capture event date, parameters, instrumentation key. Yep. So it captures the date. We don't really even need that, but because the application insight will log it, it's just more for local time. So it'll log it with universal time, but it's just capturing the local time of the local event that happened on the machine. So that's fine. So I've got a custom generic dictionary which gets built. So that's just building out the parameter block. So instrumentation key, event name, which is just the resource name. I think that the event name's fine. Kind of explains exactly why. I can change it. So I was thinking about appending like pre-appending a like a status, but I'm thinking because this is an event, it's an actual event being raised, so it could be. I could actually write it to be that. It's a really tough one because realistically it could be the type. It could be the type. I'm just thinking about it because if you think about it, so we have the type here. So we've got all the different types: information, warning, error, verbose, debug. So if I write that, it just means that it loses its scalability to an extent. So this is how it looks like in this in the thing. So we've got a custom event. So realistically, it is to do with that application. So I think at the end of the day, though, we are logging. We are logging the runbook name. So I'm thinking maybe I'm actually going to change that. It's going to be the type. G'day, Anthony. How you going, mate? I think I'm going to make it the type because, yeah, that's good, mate. Yeah, so it's going to be no 101 today because Christian's over at a mate's place. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm just working on a logging piece of logging code. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of refactoring my code. So refactoring is basically improving the code. So I'm just looking at bits and pieces and trying to make the best decision. So I think, so what I'm going to do here is we've got the item type. It's a custom event. I like the name, the item type. Yeah, no worries, mate. So the name. Okay, yep, we're going to, it's a custom event. Yep, so we're going to actually put, we're going to put the item type. So what we're going to do into here is we're going to call it resource name, script name. I'm going to change this. So it's not going to be runbook name, it's going to be resource name. So what we're going to need to do here is we need to update our test. So let's rewrite our test. So it's going to be error. Then we need to update our. So this test is now going to fail, which is completely fine. However, I'm just going to do this. So what I'm going to do, so I said event name. I don't like that. Should be test. And then we have runbook name. I'm going to change that to actual resource name. So because resource can be multiple things, it's not things. So if we rerun our test, this is going to fail. 100% is going to fail. So we can see parameter set cannot be resolved. Yeah, so it's completely, so we're going to need to fix that now. So one of the things that we had here was it couldn't resolve the parameter set. So I'm going to fix that up firstly. Where's my parameter set? Yeah, okay, so what we need to do here is going to expand our parameter sets out. So what a parameter set is, Anthony, is that basically we're back in the dash. I can give you a quick demo. Actually, we'll go to command prompt. So if you go, for example, let's just use ipconfig /all, and obviously we talk about what /all is, what we in PowerShell language is a parameter, it's just an argument. What you can do when you basically write code in PowerShell is that traditionally back in the day of VBScript, or any sort of command prompt, you'd have to do some very, very funky coding. So to be able to handle that, you would have to read the arguments, each of the arguments into memory, and then literally kind of decipher that whole process of is this an argument, or is this a legitimate value. So what we did, so what PowerShell's done away with that is that basically we can use parameter sets. So I define my parameter here, so update AI tracelog, and the parameter's details. Actually, I'm going to call it detail because that's changed. It's not detail anymore, it's detail, and that actually is technically correct. So I'm just going to so what it does is it basically, you define, for example, within, let's use this as an example. You want one thing to be included in a specific parameter. So let's say you have a parameter of IP address, but within that you don't want to include server name, for example, if you're doing a ping, because it's all the information that would be pertaining to an IP address. So let's say you've got ping IP address, and then you have, for example, in there, resolve DNS name or something like that. So that would be, another parameter that you would include there. You wouldn't want to include that on the computer because the computer's name's already been resolved. So it's kind of like it's basically allows you to organize your parameters and not having to deal with all that kind of nitty-gritty stuff with VBScript. So it makes it a lot easier in PowerShell. It's one of the things. Parameter sets can get very, very long and complicated, but the key thing to remember is that you've got what we call a default parameter set. That's your default go-to. That's the parameter set that will load when you actually run the commandlet. then you have these other parameters. So for example, if I include the error, so sorry, you don't actually say error, but let's say I go, I use the detail and the error details, then the custom items parameter will be actually omitted because it's not within that parameter set. So it's really one of those things, but it's really quite cool. Um, so what I'm going to do here is standard. Yes, you can send expanded. You can also set error with details. So I'm just fixing this up. So they basically can be all same as standard. You can pass all that information. Actually, you don't really need. You don't really need that information, but we'll just like I'm going to try and troubleshoot that one out. But before I do that, I need to actually. I'm actually replacing details with detail. We are replacing it. So if I do a quick find, yep, I'm going to replace all that with detail. So it's actually running detail rather than details. So if we rerun that, run test, it should fail out catastrophically. Should have standard parameter set. Doesn't have a standard parameter set. So, but got null. So that's fine. So what we need to do now is, I'm just trying to work out how we're going to fix this up. So we've got standard expanded. We got standard. That actually needs to be all three. So what I can do here is just copy that. Just go expanded and error. Instrumentations. That all needs to be all three. Actually, this is taking too long, so I'm just going to do this. And then we just change this to the position to be 4. Actually, 0. 1, 2, 3, like so. And then this will be 4. And then this will be 5. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So if I rerun my tests after I fix my parameter sets, it should still fail. But at least, yep, okay, expected test got null. Oh, should have standard parameter set. I actually can test on that now as well. Or can I? I don't think I can. Should expected custom properties prefix with custom. Yep. So there's some things that are returning. Obviously, it's still failing test. That's fine. So what we can do is, obviously we're also failing the error. The argument critical does not belong. That's fine. I need to fix that up. So we're fixing that up. So that should be error like so. So what I'm going to do as well, I'm actually going to update the resource in this to be the test script name. So if we so if we just have a quick look, test standard input, runbook name, that needs to be changed because we're calling it resource name. So what we need to do, where is it? It's not runbook name, it's resource name. And call it resource name. It should be called test script name. So if we just update that one and that one, event dictionary resource name, test script name. Okay, so if tests are going to fail again, that's fine. So if we rerun it, we can see there's got a lot of failures. Should have standard parameter set. Yep, expected strings to be the same, but they were different. Expected test, but got test script name. So we need to fix that up. That's fine. Actually, I think we actually just need to update it here. No, script name's that. Detail type. So we've passed in the test script. Okay, so what we're going to do now is once we've fixed all that, so I think that's probably, we also need to pass it object. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix all this up, and then we're going to get the, we're going to get test passing again, and then we're going to go ahead and break it again. So we've got resource name, event type, date time logged. Okay, so resource name is being passed in, that's script name, resource name. So it can't validate, result.event name is resource name. So that's actually incorrect, it's type. So we need to fix that actually. So it's type. So we need to change that. So it's actually the type. So that's whether it's an error, whether it's information, warning, verbose, debug. Yeah. So if we actually pass type in there, so I'm just kind of zooming around. So we've got the type. I like it. I do like it to be uppercase. I'm going to make it all uppercase. So if we go back to upper, so we can just say to upper, like so. We've got the event dictionary, so resource names logged in there, so that'll be our runbook or our script. We've got event type. Still humming and hawing about event type, event name. I like it to be the type because I'll say it's easy to report. But the thing is, what's easier to read? So if we go back here, we've got, let's say, you've got a custom, you got your runbook. So let's say you got multiple runbooks. What's a bad event? We've got, let's say, another event, failure, test runbook. Let's just say that thing. Is it easy to report on the runbook? I think it actually is, to be honest. I think type is a bit wonky. Yep, no, I'm going to keep it as runbook. I think runbook's a better one. So we can keep type there, and then we're just going to make the resource name to be the event name. Do I include the... No, because I want to try and make it easier to use. So if we use the event name, then it makes it easier. And then we've got the component and everything. Yep, okay, we're going to use resource name. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to actually redo my thing. So, so if we go event name, yep, resource name. So event name should be script name. So I'm actually going to fix this up because that's just hard coding it, and I don't like hard coding it. So I'm just going to do it like this. Should be script name. That should be script name. Test standard input. That's fine. Event detail should be test. Yep, that's fine. I'm just going to quickly go down here. We're just going to update that on the others. Instrumentation key. Actually, what's it? I'm actually just going to update that whole thing. Should a standard parameter set. So we got the custom property. Then we got the old mate here. Get rid of that. Oh, what's this one? That's detail. What is that? It actually removes detail, so the detail actually gets removed because it doesn't need it, because we're actually logging an error event. So if I rerun my test, this is going to fail again. Should have standard parameter set. Should be like expected wildcard, test standard input to match. Okay. That is my fault. So what I have here is test standard, test expanded, like so. I just stuffed my test up, like fixed. Let's rerun my tests. Okay, what do we got now? Okay, should be like test, expected test to match empty, but it did not match. Okay. So what's this? This is testing standard parameter set. What's testing standard parameter set? Okay, yep. That's line 66. Okay. Should be like test. It's not. So there might be a problem there. That's fine. Yep, there's actually a problem with the code. So now you can see we've got details. That's not the case. We need to fix that. It's detail. So what I'm going to do, I just need to find where detail is, and then we kind of just need to do a quick find, replace, and fix that up. Let's just put a dollar on it so we're not messing around with it. So we've got 1 out of 2. So detail, so we fix that. Let's rerun our tests. Okay, cool. We are passing a lot more. I'll just quickly clear that and rerun it. So we got a lot more passes. Should call blank with expected result. Okay. Why is it doing that? What's that? And then there's an error with type. So the reason why that fails is because I didn't update that. That's fine. So down here we have our final one is cannot validate the parameter type, the argument critical. Okay, so we just need to update this like so. Rerun our tests. Well, okay, we got a lot more other failures. That's fine. Should call write error with expected result, and we got no write error. Ooh, okay. So there is problems with the code. That's fine. Should call write error with expected result. No result. So it's not. Looks like it might not be writing the error. So what we can do is we can actually suss that out. We can definitely suss that out. So switch type. Yeah, so we need to actually fix that piece up like that. We need to change that from critical to error. Let's rerun our tests. And we've got a lot more passes. So the top level's all passed. Should have standard parameter set, context text object passing, expected length, expected verbose, but was error. Really? Did I put verbose down there? Context error, testing error. Test object error passing. What's this one at? 183. Okay. Oh. Okay, so it's thrown an error for the verbose. So There is something not right with it, but that's fine. That's completely fine. So what we can do with the verbose one. So what we can do is we can fix that. So if we go to verbose, oh, it's the very last one on the list, obviously. Fantastic. Testing error object passing. Okay, so it's actually so right error, right information, right warning, right debug, right verbose. Yeah, so it's actually written the verbose fine. So then it context text error object error passing. So so just craft a custom. So you can create the way that works is you create a custom dictionary and you just pass it in, which is really quite easy to do. So what I'm going to do here. I'm thinking what I'm going to do here is we've got verbose error. Okay, so it's 183. Should be type. Ah, I broke my test. It should be error because this is actually we're logging an error, so that is my bad. And then if we rerun it, let's rerun our tests. Okay, we're passed. All 29 are passed. Fantastic. So now what my next step is, we're going to. So we fixed the usability issues. We need to fix this. Then I'm actually going to run an integration test against it, which I'm not sure how to do that yet. But my next big thing is I want to be able to add an object, a custom object. So this is going to be a tough one. So let's write our test firstly. So what I'm going to need to do is we're going to write our initial test to fail. So first things first, I might actually add some comments here. Test a standard input, test expanded input capability. Then we're going to test the test. So we're going to go test like so. Then we're going to just paste all this in here like so. So I'm doing a parameterized test because we want to run it against all our different types. So I'm just going to go test custom object, expect a result, get the asserted commandlet. So switch type, yep, that's fine. Declare X. So what we're going to do here, so we're mocking, we're going to act. So we're going to create a custom object. This is going to be a tough one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to arrange a custom object here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom object with different types. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this because I kind of want to serialize an object. I don't want to just serialize it as JSON because I want to be able to actually stick the items in as dictionary items. So What I'm thinking. What I'm thinking. Let's create a custom PS object like so. Okay, so my first idea is we need just a standard string property like so, test. We need an integer op property. Instead of calling it, I'm going to call it type. And we're going to say, what? We're going to say, what else we need? We're going to need string, integer. I'm just kind of like, what do we actually want? Long type equals 1. Just kind of want to test this. Okay, long type, and then we're going to say date time. Then we're going to go we need a custom class. We need something that's really like rudimentary. I'm just kind of what do we got? Date time boolean. The question is could I actually put it so that it actually would serialize inside it? I think I'm just going to serialize the surface items. So if it's like a string, an integer, things that it knows that are common, it will serialize it. Maybe for anything else, it will convert it to JSON. I'm thinking, would that be a better way to do it? I think so. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going to do that. So, oh man, it's gotten really slow. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to adjust the webcam. It's just getting really, really quite slow. Configure video. Camera control, turn off auto. So I can actually get better control. Look at that, much better. What resolution is this at? I don't know. Oh well, that's fine. looks like it might be starting to drop. I'm just going to have to drop my audio right down. It's going to be 3000 kilobits per second, which is plenty. Okay, I think it's holding it. Let's quickly check. So Anthony, what did you get up to on your day off, mate? I think it's holding it. Yeah, that's alright. I think it's alright now. Okay, so actually could be my sync. I've got a kind of running a sync to Azure at the moment. Not much. I slept. Then I had to look at some new Cisco stuff. Yeah, nice, mate. Nice. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to write a custom type, and we're just going to do get process select first one slash I'm kind of like, how do I do this? Because I kind of want a custom type. What's something that's custom that? Just trying to think. What's a custom object that? We're literally having a memory blank. Oh. Custom type. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna go custom type, and we're just gonna go GUID, new GUID. So it creates a GUID object, which is fine, like so, but there's a property within that. So it's actually it's having a custom object, which is really good. So what we can do here, so we've got GUID, new GUID. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go detail, and then we're just going to go. This is really used for debug. This is not really used for anything else except debug. That's fine. We're going to just say object, and then we're just going to get custom object, like so, and it will run that. So what we're expecting is it to be asserted. So we're expecting a the actual mock, the right informational debug to be called. And they should have a standard parameter set. So we've got instrumentation key, blah blah blah. In addition to that, it should have extended parameters applied. It should have extended tests for extended for custom object being serialized. So should have custom object should have custom object values prefixed with custom. I actually like the custom underscore because it kind of explains, yeah, that it is something else. So that's fine. So we got custom property. What's my custom property? Oh, it's custom property. So we're actually looking for, we're going to have multiple property types here that we need to test. So I'm not going to need to test type because we're not interested. I'm not interested in type. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, or am I? custom type. So we can actually just say should be custom object dot string type. So I don't actually have to rewrite it. Should be custom object. Oh, no. I don't think it should be that. I'm actually going to keep that. I'm not going to actually write it like that because it's just confusing. That's confusing me. So I'm going to be test. Should be 1. Should be 1. I'm going to get the... I don't want to test for an exact date because the date's going to change. So I think what I'm going to do is just say it shouldn't be null. It's the simplest test. Bool type should be false. Actually, I'm going to make that true. I'm also going to do a property test. Should be true. I'm also going to put an additional check. Actually, no, it should be fine. And then we're going to go custom type. It should be null. Oh, sorry, it should not be null. G'day, Shane. How you going, mate? So it shouldn't be null. And what we're going to do is I'm going to say also custom type dot get members should be a type string. Now we don't know that it's serialized as that, but we're assuming that it's going to serialize it as a JSON object. That's what we're assuming. So if I go get type, sorry, I just need to kind of spitball this out. So we go var get type. It's dot name like so. We can then serialize it as a string like so. Should be a string. I think I'm going to should be 1, should not be 3. Yes, it needs to exist in that test. Actually, no, it doesn't. It can exist outside. You can actually do a separate test. Should have custom object value types. Should be custom. Should have custom object. Should have custom object values prefixed with custom. I'll just leave that. So that should all fail up perfectly. It's concerning that it passes. Therefore, my code's really trash. Oh no, the reason why it's passing is because I haven't actually added it to the test yet. It's just a. So what I need to do, it needs to be prefixed as well. So if I scroll back up, I'm just going to do this. Go custom. So each of those custom, those custom properties that are passed in by the object will actually have a custom prefix. So now I can actually pass old matey in. Expected result 1. So now I can actually just say testing. Just say hash table. .NET object with different stream types, so like so, and then we can go test object. What's it called? Custom object. So it doesn't have an expected result. That's fine. So now if we rerun it, we should have a whole bunch of failures. Bam, 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 bam. Perfect. Cannot bind positional parameters because no game names within 167. I just want to make sure that my test is fine. So 167. Okay, perfect. So it hasn't even, like, we haven't updated it yet, so we can now go ahead and start writing our code. So what we need to do here is we've got error details, we've got that one. So we need to create a new parameter set here. We're going to call it expanded, and then we're going to call it, let's call this one hash table. Expanded hash table. We also going to need a hash. We're going to need an object. So we can just call it object like so. Let's grab Almighty, paste that in there. Oops, oops. Where is it? There he is. So we just copy him. I'm just going to do this. Five, 4, 3. So expanded object, expanded hash table, perfect. So now also need to work this part out, so that's fine. So what we need to do now is I need to update code to this. So we need to be able to pass, pretty much just need this bad boy. And what was our parameter going to be? It was going to be expanded hash table. Call this bad boy expanded object. So you can, if any of the expanded items, you can pass an error, you can pass in a hash table, or you can just pass an object, and it'll just, the object will serialize it, or you can pass a custom hash table. It'll actually add the key values to it automatically. I'll just turn the light on, and then you have an error. So when you do a get, when you're inside a catch block, you can actually just send it through. So I've got a custom, there's a custom function that actually does that. So it'll accept an error, and then it'll just pipe that object through. I just realized the reason why I can't do that is because it creates a dictionary object. It's actually expecting a dictionary here. That's not going to work well. Yeah, it's not going to work well at all. So what I'm thinking I might do is I might rewrite that piece of code so that it's actually not taking a dictionary item in, it's taking a hash table, and it'll actually serialize it on this side. Because what it's doing at the moment, if it takes that in, is if we go down to here, it actually just iterates through and it adds them. So in terms of, like, it's not going to change any part of the code. So I think that might be our better bet. So I'm going to need to update my error test as well. So we've got, I'm going to call it hash table object, and then we're going to call it just call error hash table, and then we're going to rewrite all this and pop it in there. So this basically, what this does is when we call this, this is called when I do logging. So if I do it like a try catch, so if there's like a try, you do something here, and then you have a catch. and I want to log it, usually I have a get AI error, and then I can just pass the current error object in to that function, and then what that will do is, in essence, it's going to build out a hash table and then call this, and it'll just basically append all that the stack trace information into it, so that then I don't have to I have a nice clean a much cleaner way of dealing with all the shenanigans. So yeah, it's just an easy way of doing it. But that's kudos to Chris Mill. He wrote an SMS tracelog tool, which was fantastic. It was absolutely awesome. And then what we did was basically just expanded onto that. So it's just, rather than logging locally in an SMS trace format, now it's logging into application insights. So changing the source, but we're actually adding extra functionality. So the biggest problem I've had with this is just big nitty gritty things I've had was that when logging with let's say if I wanted to log debug information, I wanted to actually log a ton of debug information. So usually I'm very verbose. So I log, if I want to log something, I usually serialize as JSON an object, and then I'll pass that into it. And it's really good because when I'm troubleshooting, I know exactly what's being logged. It's the same concept here, is that basically when you have an error, we're actually logging that. And then in terms of the added functionality, I can be able to pass in an object, and I'll be able to dynamically add those properties within that object that it's able to, and then basically the other ones I'll just quickly serialize as JSON. So I think that's probably going to be, I think it's just really useful to have, because I'm not having to then, when I'm troubleshooting my code via the logs, I'm not having to deal with all those. I'm not blind, in essence. So I have my debug information in that code, so I can see, what that object was doing at that point in time, and then I can start troubleshooting it. So it's really quite handy to have. Anyway, so built my object. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So that code should just keep on working. The only thing I need to change is the type, and that should be it. So if I rerun this test, that's going to fail now catastrophically. Error discovered in 29. 29. Error details. Duplicate parameter error details. Because old mate hasn't updated it. So I'm thinking we've got custom items, error details, and we're just going to call this, let's just call this custom object. I'm actually going to also pop this up because I feel like it needs to sit below custom hash table. So I've got custom hash table, which means I need to update my code. What was it originally? Custom items. So if I just do a quick find replace, like so, change old mate to custom hash table. Alright, let's rerun our tests. So we should have a whole bunch of failures here. Yep, that's a known failure. Should have custom parameters prefixed with that. Got test but was null. Oh, okay, yep. Should have, yep. So that hasn't run that. We haven't run that one yet. The other ones are fine. Custom extended input. Oh, should have right warning. Okay, so first one's right error. Hash table. Okay, so it's should have custom parameter set values prefixed with custom, but it's not. So it should work, but it's not. So that's fun. So what we can do here is troubleshoot why it's not working. So got custom object. Oh, it's also got a. I've been messing around with the. Messing around with this. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is do expanded object. error. So fix that, see if that fixes it, because I was messing around with all that. I'm just going to clear all this. What we got? Okay, so that's hash table. .NET object's going to fail out. So it should have those values, but it doesn't. So it should be test, but it got null. So what we can do is, I'm just going to hit a breakpoint there. We're just going to debug that. So step. Oh, let me just drop a debug breakpoint here. Find out what the shenanigans are happening. Like so. Let's continue. Okay, so we're getting the PS call stack. That's fine. So I've entered the function. There's no issues with the parameter sets. What do we have down here? So we're looking for these bad boys. So I'm just going to... so the reason why is because I've got custom items. So what I can do is stop this. I actually need to fix my terrible parameter naming. So let me call it... I had custom items in there, so I need to fix that. Keys, custom items. I'm just going to have a quick look for anything else that has that. Yep, perfect. So that should fix that. So if we rerun that test, we should have passes. Yep, perfect. So now we just need to work on the context block. So what we can do now is pretty much just do this. If the what's it called? Custom pro. Add the properties. So well, here's the question. Should we just serialize the whole bad boy? It's not going to hurt. Make it a depth of 2. So any sort of recurrence. Because at the end of the day, I could just pretty much build it out. The question is, like, at the end of the day, it would be awesome for reporting. So there'll be tons of functionality we get with reporting, but it's still a big problem. So, because at the end of the day, though, to serialize it, it's easier to serialize it quickly. Like I will still use the I'll still review it. So I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna still review, like, reading JSON. There's no issues with that. I'm just trying to think, like, so this is what it looks like. If I quickly bring this up, because I actually did serialize a object. So we've got custom dimensions in here, not this one. Let's see if I can find one. Custom dimensions, no. Let's just try failure. Version 8. Can't remember where it is now. It's in one of those ones. But my whole idea is that basically I can just serialize it as JSON. Yeah, I'm going to serialize it as JSON. So what we can do down here, so I'm not interested in that. I'm actually interested in whether it's actually put a response. So this object has been serialized correctly. So what we can do is we can get rid of prefix with custom. So we can just say it's custom object. Should not be null. Should be a type string. So it shouldn't be null. Should have the custom object prefix set with JSON. We can actually just say should be string, and then we can just do dot length should not be 0. So let me just quickly just pop a string in there. Test. Okay, length. Yeah, so we could. So it shouldn't be 0. We don't really care about the length. And we can just go ahead and serialize this, which is plenty fine. Yeah, that's plenty fine. So we're just serializing it against custom objects. So rather than that, so all we can do is we can go params dot event dictionary dot add. Then we're gonna go like so. And then we're going to put our JSON string in here. So we're going to go custom object, convert to JSON. We're going to set the depth to be 2. I don't want to go too deep because at the end of the day though, then we're just bloating. But I just need to, if there's a custom object, I've started to use should be type of string instead of, is there one like that? Is there one like that? Now you're like it's all about the ins and outs. Like that's one thing I've found. Like custom object should be. Oh, it is there. I just wasn't. Oh no. It should be of type string. Do I actually need to use the parameter? Yes. Yeah, let's actually switch. Okay, cool. So thank you, Shane. That's really good. So I can actually just say get rid of that. It should be type of string. So if I rerun old matey, yeah, it's gonna fail out. That's totally fine because we still haven't fixed cannot bind positional things. Oh, okay. So convert to JSON, depth to 167.19. Let's have a look at that. So we got 167.19. So we got object. So I don't think the parameter is called object. I think it's called custom object. That's firstly that. Let's rerun this and see if it passes. Okay, we've got some big errors, which is good. That's good. So what do we got? We've got should call write verbose. Didn't call it. Because it's clearly stuffed it up. Should have a standard parameter set. Let's have a quick look at what's that. One. I wish they would highlight that. Anyway, 184. What's that? So it should have test. Oh, test custom object. It's going to be called test custom object, not test expanded input. That's fine. It's still failing, so that's, I think there is something still wrong with it. So I think if we run this again, yeah, we're still getting errors. So it should be calling write verbose, write debug, write warning, but it's actually not running it. So why is that? I think I just need to auto update my test. It's called custom object. Custom object, where's custom object? So why is it failing it? So now we are going to troubleshoot why. Debug time. Alright, get the stack. Yes. 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 Okay, I'm removing these breakpoints. Where's that one? Get rid of old mate. Alright, so we've hit our breakpoint. Just want to see what our object is. We've got our custom object. Just want to see what the parameters look like. So if we go param, you can see, man, the ups and downs don't work inside the debugger. It's actually a little frustrating. There we go. So it's serialized it. We've got string type test, integer, date time. So you can actually even see it's fully it's serialized the date time object as well, which is really nice. So why is it not? What's the type? Error. Yep. Well, this component. Yep, we've mocked it. Information type. Yep, bit counter. We've mocked. Break. Yep. Set mock called. Set commandlet. Right error. Yeah, I should have called it. Alright, well, I think that's fine. What's it whinging about? Just continue. So it's not. So it's saying that it's unexpected. So we've got to have a look at why that's the case. Why is that happening? Also, I should probably clean up my code. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly do this before I forget. Range, act, assert, arrange. I'm very pedantic about my commenting. Act. So the way I do it is, if it's a double, like a double thing, like what I'm doing now, it just kind of, it means that it's like a heading number 2. It just helps me visualize quickly what different types of headings. So you got a heading 1, which is what I usually use, and then there's a double hash, is basically a heading 2. So I'll just quickly do this again, like so. Okay, so should have called that, but it did assert it. Right error times 1. Ah, because I put expected result in there, I'm just going to put that once. That fixed it. test custom object, because I had expected result in there as a parameter and it's not passing it. So if I just rerun my tests, shebang. Okay, 44 to pass tests. So this should be good now to actually run against an online implementation. So what we need to do, I'm going to restart PowerShell. Now I just want to see if I can regenerate my app key. I'm also going to need to install that module. Oh, instrumentation key. No, I can't. Okay. So I'm going to have to guard that one. That's fine. Just pop that on that pad over here. Alright, so what I need to do is go here, install old matey. For some reason I've got Piano Man in my head. So I'm just going to extract this out. I'm just going to do it quick. Cool. Alright, so if I should be able to relaunch that. So if I it's the easiest way to do it. Alright. Sorry, I've just got a really itchy back. Ugh. Alrighty. 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 Where is my stream chat? There it is. Perfect. Perfect. Do any of those set mock called when they're on their own pass? I think I hit on. Do any of those assert mock called in that on their own pass? I think I had this before. I was told to have call the function in the if block. I don't know. I don't know. I was so yeah. So I can write the test. So I can actually run this test before we go live. I can fail the test out. Okay. I can fail the test out anyway. So if I go, let's just use write warning as an example. So if I actually forcibly fail the test, like so we know it's passing. So it should fail everything to do with warnings. So if I rerun the test, so yeah, should have called write warning. So everything to do with write warnings failed because of that specific assert. So that's fine. So I'm just going to quickly save that, rerun it. There we go, 44 passed. Sweet. So, next step. We are going to grab that, do this, import module. I hope this imports. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to point it to it. Is there a PSM? Yes, there is. Imported, perfect. This is core as well, so I haven't tested this on core. Actually, no, I have tested this on core. Sorry, I thought I didn't, and I was like, no, I have tested this on core. It runs in core. So what I need to do now, so that's logged in. I need to take my Visual Studio off screen so I can hide my application key, because I still want to use this in the future, and I don't want like random stuff to be logged to it. So I'm just going to set that while you guys enjoy a white screen. while I do this. Okay, so what I need to do is set that instrumentation key like so, and then I can do that, do that, do that, do that. Alright, so I've got the instrumentation key loaded. I'm just going to do fill it full of get child items. So I'm not going to bring it up accidentally. So I've got that loaded into memory. So now the cool stuff happens. So I should actually be able to now run it. So if I go update AI trace log, and then we go. Oh, I actually think I need to hang on. It's a function, so I actually need to load it into memory. Clear ski, update AI trace log, like so. We're going to detail, and let's just call this hello world. This is me. Then we can go. Let's just do a standard one first. Let's just go type. Well, it's default of information, so okay, yep, we're missing resource runbook name. Resource name, so we can just go test. So that's now sorting its life out. It's quite slow to begin with, but now it's creating an event. So now if we go back to old matey here, close that down, close that, go to logs. So if we go here, yep, wait for old mate to refresh. So we got custom metrics, custom events. So we just dump the last 50 in the 24 hours. Wait for it to pop up. When it decides to play ball. Let's just go last 7 days. Okay, I know there's stuff here, so I'm just gonna. Okay, so this is the content that we've got previously. So you can see we've got our custom events, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the new one, which is on the 14th. Is there anything on the 14th? I'm just going to say last hour. I know that takes a little while to go through. Is it custom events? Now I'm like, custom events or custom metrics? I'm just going to run custom metrics. I was pretty sure it was custom events. Alright, let's just run it again. See if we can just log a couple of items in there. There we go. First one's finally trickled in. So what we've got here is the name. So let's just call this. This is a let's just call this test script.ps1, like so. So we can check that out. So if we go back here, rerun it, we should see the others starting to trickle in. So you can see you got the detail, hello world, this is me, information, resource name, date, time, and the component. So components basically stack, which is really useful. So really cool. Let's just see if that all passes through. I'm just waiting for other info. And once we've done that, then we will do the next step, part of this test, which will be just a quick check. Takes a little while, eh? Takes a good couple of minutes to pop in there, which is really, it means that there will be a couple of minute delay when it comes to alerts. So if you have alerts or anything set up, I'm guessing that's going to be a little bit slower. So while we're waiting on that one, let's just go to the next one. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a hash table. I'm just going to call this I'm a hasher. We're just going to call it random property. This is a random string, like so. And then we should actually be able to include custom hash table. Go hash table. Pass that one in there. So we'll do that. The next one after that is we want to be able to pass a custom object. So let's just do select first one, like so. So that's taking a custom object. Let's see how that goes. So I totally forgot to do something. Let's just make sure we actually logging as well. So if we just do custom hash, yes. So we got our logging if we set the information preference. So let's just do verbose. So if we can just go type and then we can go verbose. Look at that. That's so cool. So if the verbose, if it's set, it'll log it. It'll print it. But if it's not, it's not. So that's fine. Let's see what happens here. Do we have any more? I reckon we're going to have some more. Okay, we got some extra stuff. Sweet. So we got test PS scripts, which is fine. You can see our custom dimensions. Hello world, this is me. That's perfect. And now we're actually going to see if we can serialize a custom event. So that is going to be the next part. And then once we've done that, I think we're done. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm actually really happy with this. And all TDD. So write the test before you actually make the change. So yeah. So I think I'm going to do a quick invoke pester script coverage while waiting. Pester script. Actually, I can just see if this. How do you do script coverage? I've actually never done it before. Pester script coverage. I know about it, and I just kind of. I think I've got like. I've done over code coverage. Invoke pester. Okay, pass code coverage. I thought it was script coverage. Yep, sweet. Thanks, mate. Here's a post coverage test. Yeah. Okay, so I actually need to. And then you write the file you want to check. Then the file you want to check the coverage for. Oh, okay, yep. Okay, so it'll just be update AI trace log. %. How? That's not bad. I think it was 70%, so I'm happy with that. That's a lot. Like, to be honest, that's a ridiculous amount of code coverage, though. So, missing information key. Yeah, okay. So there's these ones I need to test. It also helps if I can spell. So I'm going to quickly fix that up. So that's actually really cool as well because it actually shows you the different like things that we need to try out. But I think like realistically that's plenty. Like I'm not going to go any further. 84% I think I'm pretty happy with. So what I'm going to quickly do is fix my stupid mistake because also helps if I can spell, doesn't it? So if we do that, helps if I can actually fix my spacing too. I literally use like a spell checker online because yeah, I'm really lazy. So let's rerun this. So now we've got our custom information here. So we should have, where are we don't need to, they don't need to have, they don't even have really good handwriting. So yeah, I could excuse myself. So component, database resource name, custom random property. So I passed that custom property and it created a custom random property, which is quite cool. Can't include that. Oh, that's really cool. So I can custom dimensions dot custom. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's basically it's. So if I rerun this, oh look at that. That's so cool. So I can actually create random so we can actually filter like that. So anyway. So the next thing we need to do is we need to test on our serialized object, wherever it is. I don't think it's passed through yet. That pipe at the start is still surprising to me. Is that the pipe at events? Because like that's it's really weird. Like I think I'm gonna have to spend a bit of time and like make sure I get my head around the syntax of the logic, because I think you could write it could write some very powerful reports. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm thinking custom random property. I just want to see if it's. Oh, I don't want to do that. Actually, I can actually do this. I can just go custom object. Let's just is not equal to this. See if that works. Oh, look at that. Wing that one. Winged it like a boss. Look at that. Look at that. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I actually passed a serialized JSON object and it automatically brought it in for me, so I didn't even need to do anything. And it just keeps going. Look at this. Look at that. That is fantastic. Oh man, this is so good. Look at that. That is just so good. So you can pass in a full-blown object. So let's say you've got something that's just like, oh, like that is so good. That makes me so happy. Because like, let's say you've got you've got this mad-ass error. You've got this big problem with this specific object, and you literally can capture the entire object. And then basically it's able to actually automatically deserialize that into this, so I can actually just be able to report on it. So I can literally write ridiculous reports for for errors, or looking for errors, or looking for any sort of issues, and being able to actually have an object to be able to troubleshoot against. Which, yeah, that's seriously cool. That's really cool stuff. So I'm really happy with that. And even just wing the report, I'm like, it's got to be C#. So yeah, I think might leave it at that for today, guys. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think I need to make another change to other bits and pieces, but I think this in itself now has become powerful enough for me to be able to use and write really cool code with. So I was kind of a little bit hesitant. Like the thing that I really like is the fact that in here we can go got the name. So let's say you've got an application insights for all your runbooks. You can basically see all your scripts that have been run. You've got the execution time. You've got all the objects. And now that's obviously outside of the fact that you also have Azure Automation. So if you've got automation running, you can basically have the outputs printed to that. So any sort of like normal like display output that you want to print, for example, just generic stuff, for example, like, hello world, the detail will still be printed. And the thing is that then basically you don't get the full object, so you're not getting just this giant verbose dump. You can actually write verbose. You can write a nice succinct detail and not have to be too verbose with it. And then all the verboseness can then just get dumped into the actual object or dumped into the detail. So it means that this is actually really cool, because you can then, like, I can literally just keep drilling down and keep drilling down. Obviously, I'm not going to serialize to the cows come home, because that'll just be really bad. But it's still a very cool win. I want to actually try one more thing. I want to try this. let's try this. So we're going to do a verbose. So, and we're just going to go custom objects. I don't think this is going to work. I think this is going to completely bug out. So I'm just going to do a full blanket process. Well, I think it's working. Probably not the best way to serialize, to make a log entry, since we're serializing an entire collection. I think we're going to be here for a while. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. You just took an entire collection. So that's fantastic. I'm so happy with this. I'm really happy. That's a really good win. That is a fantastic win. Yeah, I can't be happier than that. I think that's a fantastic win. So I now am interested to see what this is going to run. So I'm waiting for old mate to come through, and then we'll see what happens. So one of the things I'm going to do though is I am going to in the PS book I've got I'm talking about application insights and how to log to it, and I've got a bit of a blurb there. I might post a snippet to that because I do think that you guys it's definitely beneficial for everyone just to be able to have that capability to be able to single line it straight in. And yes, you can single line it with a command, but I think it's more having the ability to, just having those extra pieces of power, so you don't have to, you just pass an object or you pass an event and you can just, and it'll just deal with it. So I think that's a really good win. But I probably will include it. I'll just need to work out what I need to do there. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm just trying to see wait till old mate comes back. The one thing I have noticed is that it takes a little while, so I'm guessing it's just something that Azure's got to wait for. So there is also the thing where one of the things I really want to do is when you do log something, one of the things I wanted to be able to do is this. I want this to be like completely asynchronous. So when you send update AI trace log, it just basically it's not even a job. It just kind of like pushes the job, like it asynchronously pushes that event itself to a stack, and then you have an asynchronous thread that's basically iterating through and processing those items. Because I think that would be really cool, because then you have real time, so your script's not being slowed down, and you're still getting performance out of your script, but at the same time though, you basically you're just pushing those elements off, and they can you've captured the detail already, so you don't have to worry about timings and things like that. So let's see if that's come back. Sorry, the screen's turned yellow because night mode's just turned on. There we go. So we've got our new one, which is our custom objects, custom events, resource name. Yes, this is just a full-blown custom object. So can I? Yeah, okay. So it won't take a full-blown collection, which at the end of the day I'm not too surprised about. It's had a cracking go at it. But yeah, okay. That's fine though. I think that's a really good win. So we've got logging to the cloud. So runbooks, we're good to go. So yeah, I think that's a really good session. I really enjoyed that one actually. I was really happy with that. We made a few changes, got some good updates, got enough code coverage, and yeah, so yeah, I'm probably going to include this in the book because I do think that it's a really handy one. I think there's plenty of, I think it's good enough for it to, yeah, it's good enough to probably go to prod. So obviously I got confidence in code, but anyway. So guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So with regards to the 101 PowerShell sessions, we will be doing we're doing sessions at my wife's gonna be going back to work at maternity leave, so I'm gonna be moving PowerShell 101 with Michael and Christian to Saturdays, except it's not going to be with Michael and Christian, so it's going to be with, I've created a custom Discord channel just called PowerShell 101 Training. Let me just quickly send an invite if I can actually do that. I'll just post it in the channel. So if you guys want to, like, I'm going to be doing another intake for PowerShell 101. So I'm kind of going to just, um, yeah, I'm just going to be going back from the basics. So if you're interested in actually getting started into it, or getting an interest in PowerShell, you can definitely join this channel. If I actually remember how do I create a invite? Create instant invite. Here we go. Hit copy. So I'm just pasting it in here now. So you can basically join it. People who are interested can just express their interest, and then from that we can then I can then start working out um, how um, how we're going to do this. So it's going to be mostly running on Fridays. Sorry, Saturdays. So we're going to probably run that through Saturdays. And I'm thinking of kicking it off potentially. It might be next month. Um, because Christian's we've kind of reached the end with Christian, so I might be doing little bits and pieces here with Christian just to kind of revisit some elements. But I think what we might be doing is I'm thinking I might be actually looking at potentially next month. So yeah, that'll be September that we'll probably be kicking that off. Also in other news, Bruce Pug channel. So I'm just going to quickly post that in. So if we go twitch.tv, Bruce Pug. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to it. That's our Brisbane PowerShell user group channel. I think it's actually hosting me. Yeah, it's hosting me. So definitely recommend you guys to follow that, because that's basically where our meetups will be streaming to. I'll be hosting them, but that's going to be something that yeah, we'll be going there. G'day Quantum, how you going, mate? So that's that. Do you use Commander? No, I don't. I actually don't know what you mean. Sorry. I'd actually have to go Google it. The next thing will be. I'm just kind of thinking. Yes. So there's another meetup happening. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through. So we've got another meetup happening, which is Azure Functions with PowerShell. So that's going to be a talk that I'm going to be doing. So we're just going to be basically going through and doing a talk on PowerShell Azure Functions, which is going to be really cool. So I'll be covering the old school functions as well as the new ones. Oh, okay, yes, yes. Sorry, Commander. Okay, sorry. Yes, no. I use Chocolatey. I do with Chocolatey though. Um, I use it when I need to, but predominantly I will basically hit the script gallery. So if I want to go and sorry. So let me read it. If I want to be able to install packaging, I will. If I want to shortcut it, I might use Chocolatey. And Chocolatey is actually really good because Chocolatey have a lot of DSC resources and things like that. So if I want to install, like, for example, MySQL or something like that, that's my intention. I would use Chocolatey because it just makes better sense. But yeah, like at the end of the day, though, if I'd have to go check it out. So I use Scoop and Chocolatey. Nice. It's I think it's generally like I think it's like, yeah, it's each of their own. Most of the time though, like, yeah, like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go straight to Chocolatey. The biggest thing that we have with it is the fact that like you can run your own Choco servers and all that. It's just that businesses are going to be a little reluctant to take it on because of it's not it's not necessarily it's not supported. It's just that because it's open source on a and some other randos written code for an installer, you don't know what else they're doing or whether they're actually doing something that's bad practice. So you kind of go, oh, oh. So it's kind of better done internally. But at the same time, though, if you got your own Choco server and you can write your own packages and things like that, then it's all right. So anyway, yeah. So meetup's happening on Tuesday the 27th. So it'll be at this time, which is 6 o'clock Australian time. I think we're going to be yeah, we've been talking about Azure Functions. So I think that's about it for me tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry, Quantum, you kind of just you jumped on the end of that. But yeah, so I'm gonna probably leave it for tonight. We've pretty much done everything here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you subscribe. And then yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. I should be streaming on Friday, I think I'm going to be doing a stream on, it might be on Azure Functions. I'm just going to be doing research on Azure Functions and kind of going through there. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, bye for now.